right, it is currently 9:35 a.m. and this is in reference to the maintenance of the light source, which you already know is the case here in Los Angeles. The entity began stalking by helicopter to communicate a specialized, specific threat with the intent to emotionally disturb, psychologically and emotionally. That's why you engage in that level of stalking by helicopter. This is what the entity began doing, and that's why I started documenting the entity as I remain in Los Angeles County. And so you've already seen the body of evidence suggesting that this is the pattern of conduct where the state is stalking in that specific environment. That's the reason why the specific environment is present. The government is engaging in what is actually demonic activity, and this is no right of religious practices. This is the government that's practicing what is demonic and ritualistic methods of targeting. It is also in violation of existing Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. The entity that is group stalking you, that is placing you under surveillance, is also engaged in federal stalking, monitoring also on the venue of the internet with communication devices, doing so via the means of interstate commerce in the sky space, using planes and helicopters on the roads and the highways, as I've also documented, for example, Omnitrans. The people of the state that are arriving and group stalking while they're driving in the parking lot, they're utilizing means of interstate commerce, and the entity is also doing so while I'm reminding you about 9:35 a.m. on April 8, 2022. Where I am, this is impossible light. It's impossible because, first of all, sunlight doesn't do that, doesn't shoot like a laser into surfaces. You've seen the engineered light, but also because the sun is captured at 9:35 a.m. in an entirely different location. This is what your understanding is with regard to the term of impossible. The maintenance of a specific environment where the state is keeping you under surveillance, and the state has no grounds to place you under surveillance, where you have committed no crime, there's no warrant, no probable cause, there is no constitutional basis whereby the government can engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, which is exactly what this is. It's demonic activity. It shall be the prosecution of the government for engaging in demonic activity. And they're doing it in concert with the people of the state, where there is also no legal basis for the government to place you under surveillance under such means. And doing so, it is the presence of that light is the presence, the constructive presence of the state that is maintaining corporate presence on a 24-hour basis. That's why engineered light is present day and night. That's why that phenomenon, that impossibility, in other words, is present day and night. And at 9:35 a.m., you are going to see where I remain in Rancho Cucamonga, and this light source in this same fashion in an entirely different location where I'm off of Hellman, and you're going to see the light source over me, and you're going to see that's the identification of the stalker that is all around in your path, and it includes the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, who have engaged in documented repeated acts of kidnapping while placing me under surveillance. That is the entity that is masquerading as though it is legitimate. It spreads to the court, it spreads to the police and the sheriff, and they are engaged in what is state surveillance while again, abusing their positions in the government while placing an American citizen under surveillance. And what you'll see is San Bernardino Sheriff's Department engaging in surveillance off of, I believe it's Hellman, and I cannot recall the cross street, but you're looking at them group stalking. That is engaging in criminal surveillance with the people. You'll see a commercial means of light activity where an entity is on the same street, stalking in the path with their hazard lights on. The light source is directly over me. This is how you know the entity is surrounding you with the activity creation, light activity creation and presence, while the entity is also engaging in what is the hallmark of stalking in that specific environment, and that is through helicopter. This is demonic activity that the government is practicing, but it's also criminal with regard to what is placing you under surveillance, and that surveillance system is identified in that specific environment, and that specific environment is literally supernatural. These are the demon possessed that are engaging in this criminal system, and you are witnessing, and what is being exposed simultaneously are all of the minions that actually serve Satan. And the minions that serve Satan are not exercising any religious right. Again, nothing is religious under any sort of religious protection in the Constitution, because it's the government itself. And the government is utilizing the people. And that's how you are understanding and recognizing the criminal conduct that such commercial actors, such as FedEx and Amazon Prime and Ryder, Center for Better Life, are actually perpetrating. And it is highly malicious as they do so. But I want to be clear, the character of the demon possessed is malice. All right, they are liars. They are, psychopathic level of lying. Okay, and this is what the secret society is actually engaging in. And the secret society, it's contrary to what people have stated. Everything that I've shown, the pattern of conduct, is substantiated with direct evidence. So that which I'm stating, which is stalking in helicopters, it's substantiated with evidence of years of the government stalking me, following me from place to place, remaining where I remain, and what is the identifiable engagement in that stalking conduct, where the entity is maintaining a light source around me day and night. And that's how you're identifying what is stalking you. And they're doing it without any warrant or probable cause. And they are doing it after the target individual has become aware. And so not only am I identifying, exposing, and prosecuting, I'm also advocating for policy because I understand the demented mind state of this entity that is demon possessed, that is targeting me, and the criminal intent behind targeting somebody that is not as equipped as I am, okay? And so what I mean by that is the criminal mindset state behind all of the pattern of conduct that a government is exacting toward an innocent individual. So with regard to the knowledge, where the target individual becomes aware, say they start trying to take pictures, or maybe they try to make a statement on their Facebook that they are being pursued by the government in one way or another, okay, just to put it in layman's terms. The government that is monitoring you is also aware of the fact that you're documenting it, and at that pivotal point, you're talking about what is immediate time for any and everything that happens after that is grounds of federal prison. The entity has been engaging in what is the impermissible threat for years. All right, and it's not going to change because I am the one that is establishing precedent. This is going to be the case because this is where this country is going to understand what the people of the state shall not engage in unless you want to lose your freedom and everything else. Being a group stalker, being identified as a group stalker using your commercial brand shall result in what is being identified just as that. They're engaging in terrorism. They are hostile to the American citizen that wants to enforce their rights, and that's documented. That is evidenced. Engaging in the pattern of conduct. Every third party is in the specific environment, knows exactly who the target individual is, and is indeed focused on them. Contrary to the behavior of a demon-possessed psychopath, highly malicious in all that they do in the specific environment, fooling nobody, okay? Appearing to be the dangerous psychopath that they are, which is, again, speaking to the policy that I advocate, mental examinations, federal prison, and removing them from the areas in the public where they pose a threat to American citizens, to the public. So the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct, and at 9:35 a.m. you're going to see the entity stalking by helicopter. You're going to see law enforcement, that is the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, engaged in a pattern of kidnapping while placing me under surveillance. That is the government that is monitoring in Los Angeles, the same entity. All right, that is repeatedly arriving in helicopter. This is what Caroline Lee was engaging in, crossing path while the entity was sounding helicopter activity. Let me be clear right now. I remain surrounded while the entity is living at the crime scene, and this is an entity that is, again, absent of warrant and probable cause, and it's very unfortunate because there is no greater admission than the ongoing documentation of stalking. This is P.O.C. flying right over my head. This is called relevant positioning, audible activity. There's no sun in Rancho Cucamonga. This is exactly what the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department was engaging in, stalking in the path by helicopter, doing so in a specific environment. This is where the sun is rising and setting, and that is an ongoing admission, and that's evidence that's going to be used in federal court against everybody at Alvarado Gardens who's going to federal prison, but also the people of the state who have been documented engaged in criminal surveillance for a term of years now, engaging in what is criminal surveillance that has been fully exposed and is going to be subject to what is prosecution in a federal tribunal, and you are witnessing what is the impunity that entity acts with. The same entity that arrived in rider vehicles, that arrived in a Center for Better Life, engaging in what is harassment, showing and exhibiting that ongoing hostility, and then boldly flying directly over your head as though they are going to drop bombs on you. They're going to rush in and arrest you, as though while you're, again, documenting the fact that they are stalking you. That is the demon-possessed agency. That is the state that is practicing demonic activity, and it's criminal, and it's also in violation of Title 18. All right, it is currently 9:44 a.m. and you will see in that video documentation, because I remain in Rancho Cucamonga, I then capture what is the maintenance of that light source as I walk the streets in Rancho Cucamonga, and I get on Route 66 where you'll see that light source remaining in alignment to me in Rancho Cucamonga, where then I arrive at the Fontana Lewis Library later in the day. At no point is the sun ever going to be at any location in the Inland Empire, and also you are understanding what I already documented in the Inland Empire. The entity is maintaining a light source over the Fontana Lewis Library as early as 9 o'clock in the morning when I'm standing in front of the John Roberts fire station. At what point would the sun ever be here for the LAPD to fly over my head next to it? This is the pattern of conduct. The entity is stalking in that specific environment, intentionally keeping you surrounded by that. These are demons in positions of government, and you are looking at them fall apart at the seams, literally, while they provide an ongoing admission. Yes, I'm stalking the targeted individual, and I'm going to arrive in video in order to corroborate the evidence, which is also going to be used against the people of the state in order to prosecute. They are engaging in what is criminal presence in that specific environment, which is terrorism. This is relevant to what is workplace terrorism, ongoing harassment, and sexual violence. While the entity is stalking with light, it's an unlawful touching by the state that's keeping you under surveillance. And this is what, again, Todd Speaker is going going to be criminally and civilly prosecuted for. Speaker Companies is going to be exposed as a group stalker, because it's not only the company. Let me be clear, Todd Speaker's employees are group stalkers, not coincidentally engaging in that same pattern of conduct with that same demon-possessed agency, the LAPD, in the specific environment where the sun would never be present, by the way, where it's remaining over me in Rancho Cucamonga, where San Bernardino Sheriff's Department is engaging in criminal surveillance, stalking on the roads and the highways with the people of the state who are engaged in ongoing facilitation. And this is the government that's placing you under surveillance, again, with no warrant or no probable cause. The government has no right under any law to place you under surveillance at any place of residence or any place in public. And remember what is going on. This is the ongoing pattern of conduct that's occurring where I'm in an entirely different location. And so this is occurring outside of any warrant or probable cause to maintain criminal presence in the path. And that's exactly what the state is doing. That's exactly what the state is doing. All right, this is capturing impunity. And this is apartment number 1808, number 1. All right, and engaging in what is capturing, again, Jung Pak. And this is a demon-possessed individual. The same exact pattern of conduct, the entity crossing paths with engineered light that moves across the sidewalk, moves across the buildings. That is what is tethering together the existence of a system. And this is the existence of a system that's over me, that remains, it's rising and setting over Alvarado Gardens and living at the crime scene as an unprecedented level of facilitation. All right, while the entity is, again, stalking on camera, done with the intent to obstruct justice, stalking on camera, done with the intent to obstruct justice, under the light source that is not over the intersection in Rancho Cucamonga at the same time, but you're also looking at that hallmark, stalking in helicopter, while the entity is maintaining presence in the path, okay? It is, again, 9:47 a.m., and this is the grounds upon which every single last person that lives at Alvarado Gardens buildings 1800 through 1818 are going to federal prison, while that the entity is arriving on video and providing ongoing corroborating evidence against its co-conspirator who are living in the specific environment. None of this is sunlight. And this is the demon-possessed sex offender that also knows when my panties are down, while the entity places engineered light on the ceiling in my bedroom, all right, above my bedroom door, stalking and flying directly over my head by helicopter, while I'm literally documenting the people of the state. This is the absence of any coincidence, all right? This is capturing impunity, and this is legally relevant for that federal judge that will provide justice, all right? It is currently 9:47 a.m., and this is P.O.C.